Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel. So in the last update patch, Mihoyo revealed the next two banners that's coming for patch 2.2 and a bunch of other content. But today we're gonna mostly talk about the banners. The two characters that we're gonna see is gonna be Childe, Tartaglia and Hutao. So Tartaglia is having like his third rerun, I think, and Hutao is the first rerun or the second rerun, I don't know. But in this video, we're gonna talk a bit about both the characters. If you are wondering who you should be summoning for. So I'm not gonna go into like details about like builds and stuff like that because I think there's a lot of other YouTubers who have done that, quite well. But I just wanted to talk about it in general because I didn't play when these two characters were around, so I just wanted to share like what my thought process is when I'm thinking of who to summon. So the first one is a Childe or Tartaglia. Personally, the way I see Childe is he's more of like a multi-target character, and his skills because of his Riptide enables a lot of AoE. If you don't know what his Riptide does, basically every time he uses an attack and he crits, or he uses his ult in his bow form, he will be able to apply a debuff, which if you attack the enemy, it will cause an AoE hydro attack. So he can basically apply multiple of those debuffs on multiple enemies, and each one of them can do AoE that hits everybody else. Now, the way that Childe works is he is more focused on enabling his teammates, which means when you want to play Childe, you have to have decent support or sub DPS characters because he by himself is not a hyper carry or anything. He can be built to do like large bursts, from what I've seen, but a lot of what he does is mostly in conjunction with other characters. So Tartaglia is a hydro element, which means that he can make use of reverse vaporize, which is a very high damage modifier, and he can also permafreeze if he works with cryo characters like Rosaria or Kea. So his focus again is more on enabling his teammates, and a lot of the teams that you can see him being used is like Beidou, Xiangling, or like I mentioned, Rosaria and Kea, because all of those characters have ults that you can cast, and then you can just switch off of them and just use Tartaglia as your main damage dealer while all those ults are happening in at the same time. When you look at Hutao, she's kind of a bit opposite to Childe because Hutao is very much a hyper carry. She's a pyro DPS and she's more focused on single target damage. She can do AoE with her ult, but the way that you would play her with the charge attacks is mostly gonna be single target. Now Hutao is arguably the best pyro DPS in the game right now, and she can output a crazy amount of single target damage. And a lot of her mechanics work around low HP, which enables some of her passive and some of her skills, which gives you a lot more pyro damage and damage when you are at low HP. So because of that, a lot of her teammates, you kind of want to have people who can enable her to function at a low HP. So shields, right? You need people like Diona or Zhongli. And you need reaction enablers like Xingqiu or Rosaria and Kea. They are kind of opposite in that sense because Childe is more focused on doing AoE damage and relies on his teammates to pile on the damage, whereas Hutao is more the damage comes from her and she's more focused on single target. So it really depends on what you need for your team and whether you have the supports to sort of enable both of them. So when I think about these things and like what characters I have and what like I currently don't have in terms of a team, right? So if you look at my character archive, so I have a lot of the supports that will enable like I had like Xiangling's free, so you can get it quite easily. I've Bennett and Xingqiu. I also have Beidou, which I think if you played near the Ayaka Yoimiya banner, she was given out for free as well. I also have Rosaria and everyone has KR, right? So a lot of the supports I kind of already have. So for me personally, I will most likely go for Childe because I think that he opens up more options in playstyle. Because I currently already have Diluc, so as far as single target pyro DPS is concerned, I kind of have that covered. Now Hutao is going to be much better than Diluc under the right circumstances. Like her pyro DPS is way more. If I choose Hutao, all she's going to be replacing is just Diluc. But if I summon for Childe, it opens up a lot more teams for me to play with because at this current point I'm not using Xiangling, I'm not using Beidou in any significant way. So if I have Childe, I can play like a fireworks comp, I can play like a national team that is sort of using Childe. So it opens up like 2 or 3 more interesting teams for me to try out. Whereas with Hutao, she will only just be replacing my Diluc, right? So to conclude out the video, personally, I think I'll be summoning for Childe because I think he's gonna give me access to more interesting team lineups. Another thing that I may not like about Hutao is the fact that she kind of works off of HP. I personally don't like those characters that have to maintain like low HP for them to be like really good. I just don't like playing those kind of low, high risk, high rewards kind of characters. But the thing is, there's easy ways of making that work. Like I mentioned earlier, you need like if you have characters who can give you shields and stuff, like Zhongli, then it becomes really good. Having a character that sort of depends on having a shield, and if you don't have a shield, a single mistake could lead to death. I don't really like those kind of characters. It's not fun to me. So that's another reason why I most likely won't go for Hutao. Right now, for my current account, Hutao's gonna be not as fun as getting Childe. The other thing is also that if you are considering like which to summon, you may want to also think about what's gonna be coming after these 2 banners, right? At 2.3, because we don't know, or rather Mihoyo hasn't released any information on what's potentially coming out next. But seeing as a lot of these characters are the Liyue reruns, we might potentially see, characters that haven't had a rerun like Ganyu or Albedo or Xiao, all of which are really good characters. Yeah, so that's really something you really want to consider as well, whether you would want to summon here, especially if you're free to play like me, because maybe you want to see whether there's anything that is revealed, like drip marketing for 2.3, and then see whether you can plan around that, because those other characters like Ganyu especially is like one of the best DPS in game. Again, I don't have Ganyu, but when we got a chance to try her out during one of the more recent events, the 2x2 versus events, the thing, she was really strong, and very easy to play. You just charge up her shot and it does stupid amounts of damage. So that's maybe another thing you want to consider. End of the day, I think it really depends on what your account like needs and what you find most fun. A lot of the game isn't tremendously difficult. The fun that I get out of the game is really more just building the characters and trying them out and different teams. So again, it really depends on which character that you find more fun. I don't think that you need to always summon for the meta. Anyways, that's all I want to talk about for this video. I don't really want to go too into depth with like builds and stuff like that, because I think half the fun is people figuring out what works with their team. And there's a lot of other YouTubers who make really great videos about how you can build their team compositions, what kind of weapons. So this is more just sharing my opinions on the banners, rather than going too into depth with the details. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.